Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dhammapada Stories, Part 1, Book 1, Story 1. Kundali Nikaya, Miscellaneous Discourses. Lakkhupala Tera. At Savatthi, we are told, lived a householder named Great Wealth, Mahasuwana. He was rich, possessed of great wealth, possessed of ample means of enjoyment, but at the same time he was childless. One day, as he was on his way home from bathing at a river, he saw by the roadside a large forest tree with spreading branches. Thought he, this tree must be tenanted by a powerful tree spirit. So he caused the ground under the tree to be cleared, the tree itself to be enclosed with a wall, and sand to be spread within the enclosure. And having decked the tree with flags and banners, he made the following vow. Should I obtain a son or a daughter, I will pay you great honor. Having so done, he went on his way. Soon his wife conceived a child in her womb. As soon as his wife knew that she was with child, she informed her husband, and he performed the protection of the embryo for her. On the expiration of 10 lunar months, she gave birth to a son. Since the merchant obtained a son by protecting the tree, he named his son Protector Pala. After a time, he obtained a second son. The younger son he named Protector Junior Kullapala, calling the older protector Senior Mahapala. When they reached manhood, their parents obtained wives for them. After a time, the mother and father died, leaving the entire estate to be administered by the two sons. At this time the teacher, having set in motion the glorious wheel of the Dhamma, after journeying from place to place, took up his residence at Jetavana, a monastery erected by the wealthy merchant Anathapindika at a cost of 54 crores of treasure. While in residence at Jetavana, he established the multitude in the way to heaven and the way to Nibbana. Anathapindika and Visakha, the eminent female lay disciple, went regularly twice every day to wait upon the Tathagata. Knowing that the young novices would expect alms from them, they never went empty-handed. Before breakfast, they took food, both hard and soft. After breakfast, They took the 5 medicines and the 8 beverages. Moreover, in their residences, seats were always prepared for 2,000 monks. Whoso ever wished food or drink or medicine was immediately provided with just what he wished. Not a single day had Anathapindika asked the teacher a question. Anathapindika, we are told, refrained from asking questions by reason of his excessive love for the teacher. He thought to himself, the Tathagata is a delicate Buddha, a delicate prince. Were the teacher because of the thought, this householder is my supporter, to preach the Dhamma to me, he would grow weary. Therefore he asked the teacher no questions. But so soon as Anathapindika took his seat, the teacher thought to himself, this merchant protects me where I have no need to be protected. For I spent 4 Mahakappa and 100,000 aeons of time, in addition, fulfilling the perfections. My own gloriously adorned head have I cut off. My eyes have I torn out. My heart's flesh have I uprooted. Both son and wife, dear to me as life, have I renounced, solely that I might preach the Dhamma to others. This man protects me where I have no need to be protected. And straightway he preached a sermon on the Dhamma. At this time 70 million people dwelt in Savatthi. Of these, 50 million became noble disciples after hearing the discourse of the teacher. But 20 million remained unconverted. The noble disciples had 2 duties. Before breakfast, they gave alms. After breakfast, bearing perfumes and garlands in their hands, with servants bearing ornaments, medicines and beverages, they went to hear the Dhamma. Now one day Mahapala saw the noble disciples going to the monastery with perfumes and garlands in their hands. When he saw them, he asked, where is this great throng going? To hear the Dhamma. I will go too, said he. So he went, paid obeisance to the teacher and sat down in the outer circle of the congregation. Now, when the Buddhas preach the Dhamma, they have regard to the predispositions of the hearers for the refuges, the moral precepts, and retirement from the world. Thus they always preach the Dhamma with reference to the disposition of mind of each individual. When therefore the teacher preached the Dhamma on that day, he had regard to Mahapala's predispositions. and he preached in orderly sequence, expounding one subject after another, to wit, almsgiving, the moral precepts, heaven, the evil consequences and folly and defilement of sensual pleasures, and the blessings of retirement from the world. Mahapala the householder listened. Thought he, when a man goes to the next world, neither sons nor daughters nor riches follow him. Nay, even his own body goes not with him. Of what profit is it for me to live the house life? I will become a monk. So at the end of the discourse he approached the teacher and asked to be received into the order. The teacher asked him, have you no kinsman of whom it is proper that you should ask leave? Why, yes, reverend sir, I have a younger brother. Well then, ask him. To this Mahapala agreed and said, very well. So he paid obeisance to the teacher and went home. Summoning his younger brother, he said to him, dear brother, whatever wealth is in this house, whether animate or inanimate, all this I give into your hands. Take possession thereof. But you, master, I shall enter the order under the teacher. What say you, dear brother? When my mother died, I gained in you as it were a mother. When my father died, as it were a father. Your house contains great wealth. Surely you can do works of merit, even though you live the house life. Do not go. Dear brother, after hearing the teacher preach the Dhamma, I can no longer live the life of a householder. For the teacher preached a Dhamma, lovely in its beginning, its middle, and its end, and established precisely and exactly the three characteristics of existing things: impermanence, suffering, and absence of self. I cannot fulfill the Dhamma amid the cares of the household life. I must enter the order, dear brother. Dear brother, now you are young. Wait until you are old and then enter the order. Dear brother, in the case of an old man, even hands and feet are disobedient and answer not to his will. How much more so his kinsman? No, I will not do as you say. I will fulfill the duties of a monk. Hands and feet, weakened by old age, are disobedient. how shall he whose strength is impaired fulfill the law? Dear brother, I shall enter the order despite all considerations to the contrary. In spite of his brother's lamentations, Mahapala went to the teacher and asked to be admitted to the order. He was admitted and professed and spent 5 rainy seasons in residence with teachers and preceptors. When he had completed his 5th residence and celebrated the terminal festival, he approached the teacher, paid obeisance to him and asked, "Reverend sir, how many duties are there in this religion?" "2 duties only, monk. The duty of study and the duty of contemplation." "Reverend sir, what is meant by the duty of study? And what is meant by the duty of contemplation?" "The duty of study necessitates gaining a knowledge of the word of the Buddha in a manner comfortable to one's understanding, the mastery of 1 or 2 Nikayas, or indeed of the whole canon, bearing it in mind, reciting it, teaching it. On the other hand, the duty of contemplation, which leads to our hardship, involves frugal living, satisfaction with a remote lodging, fixing firmly in one's mind the idea of decay and death, and the development of spiritual insight by persistent effort. Reverend sir, since I became a monk in old age, I shall not be able to fulfill the duty of study, but I can fulfill the duty of contemplation. Teach me a formula of meditation." So the teacher taught him a formula of meditation leading to arahatship. Then he paid obeisance to the teacher, sought monks to accompany him, and having obtained 60, departed with them. When he had proceeded a distance of 20 leagues, he arrived at a large border village, and accompanied by his retinue, entered the village for arms. The inhabitants, observing that the monks were faithful in the performance of their duties, were favorably disposed to them, provided them with seats, and served them with savory food. Then they inquired, "Reverend sirs, whither go the noble monks?" "Lay brethren, to a suitable retreat." Then the wise villagers knew within themselves, "The reverend monks seek lodgings wherein to spend the rainy season." Said they, If the noble monks would reside here during these 3 months, we would abide steadfast in the refuges and receive the moral precepts. The monks thinking to themselves, through these families we shall effect escape from the round of existences, gave their consent. Their villages, having obtained the consent of the monks, proceeded to erect a monastery, building night quarters and day quarters, and when it was finished, presented it to the monks. The monks resorted regularly to that village only for alms, and a certain physician came to them and offered his services, saying, Reverend sirs, where many reside, disease is inevitable. Should sickness arise, pray send for me word, and I will prescribe remedies for you. When the monks entered upon residence on the first day of the rainy season, the elder, addressing them, asked this question, Brethren, in how many postures will you spend these 3 months? In all 4 postures, Reverend Sir. But, brethren, is this proper? Assuredly, we must be heedful, for it was from the living Buddha that we received our formula of meditation on coming hither. And the favor of the Buddhas may not be won by double dealing, but only by the manifestation of upright intent. 4 states of suffering await whoso is heedless, that he may enter therein as into his own habitation. Therefore, brethren, be heedful. But you, Reverend Sir, I shall spend the time in the 3 postures. I shall not stretch out my back, brethren. Very well, Reverend Sir. Be heedful. At the end of the first month, the elder, who allowed himself no sleep, began to suffer from an affection of the eyes. Streams of tears trickled from his eyes, as streams of water from a broken jar. All night long he devoted himself to meditation, and with the coming of dawn entered his cell and sat down. When it was time for the monks to go the rounds for alms, he came to the elder and said to him, Reverend Sir, it is time for us to go the rounds for alms. Very well, brethren, take bowl and robe. Having thus directed them to their own bowls and robes, he himself set out. The monks observed that his eyes were running and asked him, What is the matter, Reverend Sir? The wind cuts my eyes, brethren. Were we not offered the services of a physician, Reverend Sir? We will inform him. Very well, brethren. They informed the physician, who prepared an ointment and sent it to the elder. The elder applied the ointment to his nose, remaining seated as he did so, and then entered the village. Physician, seeing him, said to him, "Reverend sir, I am informed that the wind hurts your reverend's eyes." "That is true, lay disciple." "Reverend sir, did you apply to your nose an ointment which I prepared and sent to you?" "Yes, lay disciple." "How do you feel now?" "The pain continues just the same, lay disciple." The physician thought to himself, "The ointment which I sent him should have cured him with only one application. How is it that he is not cured?" So he asked the elder, "Were you seated when you applied the ointment, or were you lying down?" The elder remained silent. Though the physician repeated the question several times, he answered not a word. The physician thought to himself, "I will go to the monastery and have a look at this." So he dismissed the elder, saying to him, "That will do, reverend sir." And going to the monastery, he inspected the elder's cell. Seeing only a place to walk and a place to sit down, but no place to lie down, he asked the elder, "Reverend sir, were you seated when you applied the ointment, or were you lying down?" The elder remained silent. "Reverend sir, do not act in this way. The duties of a monk can be performed only so long as the body is properly cared for. Were you lying down when you applied the ointment?" After the physician had repeated the question several times, the elder replied, "Go your way, brother. I will take counsel and decide the matter for myself." Now the elder had no kinsmen or blood relatives there. With whom therefore was he to take counsel? Therefore he took counsel with his own person, saying, "Come now, brother Palita, tell me this. Will you regard your eyes or the religion of the Buddha? For in the round of existences, without conceivable beginning, there is no counting the number of times you have been without eyes. But while unnumbered hundreds of Buddhas and thousands of Buddhas have passed, your experience does not cover the period of even a single Buddha. Now in this rainy season, you resolve not to lie down for 3 months. Therefore let your eyes perish or decay. Keep only the Dhamma of the Buddha, not your eyes." And admonishing his own physical body, he uttered the following stanzas: "My eyes perish, my ears perish, so also my body. All that has to do with my body perishes. Why, Palita? continue heedless. My eyes were out, my ears were out, so also my body. All that has to do with my body wears out. Why, Palita, continue heedless? My eyes decay, my ears decay, so also my body. All that has to do with my body decays. Why, Palita, continue heedless? Having thus admonished himself in 3 stanzas, he applied the ointment to his nose, remaining seated as before, and then entered the village for alms. The physician, seeing him, asked, "Reverend sir, have you applied the ointment to your nose?" "Yes, lay disciple. How do you feel?" "The pain continues just the same, lay disciple." "Reverend sir, were you seated when you applied the ointment, or were you lying down?" The elder remained silent. The physician repeated the question several times, but the elder answered never a word. Then the physician said to him, "You are not doing as you ought for your own good. Henceforth, do not say, 'So and so prepared ointment for me,' and I will not say, 'I prepared ointment for you.'" Given up by the physician, the elder went to the monastery. Said he, "Monk, though you have been given up by the physician, do not give up your posture. You are given up as incurable. You are abandoned by your physician, destined to the king of death. Why, Palita, are you heedless?" Having admonished himself in this stanza, he resumed his meditations. At the end of the middle watch, his eyes and his defilements were blotted out simultaneously, and he became an arahat, dwelling in the bliss of spiritual insight. He entered his cell and sat down. When the time came for the monks to go the rounds for alms, they came to the elder and said to him, "Reverend sir, it is time for us to go the rounds for alms." "Is it time, brethren?" "Yes, reverend sir." "Well then, go your way. But you, reverend sir, the sight of my eyes is gone." Brethren, they looked at his eyes, and their own eyes filled with tears. "Do not worry, reverend sir, we will look after you," said they to the elder, comforting him. And having performed the various duties required of them, they entered the village for alms. Not seeing the elder, people asked the monks, "Brethren, where is our noble elder?" When they learned what had happened, they sent rice porridge to him. Afterwards, taking food, they went in person paid obeisance to the elder, and rolling on the ground before his feet, poured out their lamentations. Then they comforted him, saying, "We will care for you, Reverend Sir. Do not worry," and went their way. From that time on, they sent rice porridge regularly to the monastery. The elder constantly admonished the other 60 monks, and they carried out his admonitions so faithfully that at the next Pavarana, all of them became arahats, possessed of the supernatural faculties. At the end of the rainy season, desiring to see the teacher, they said to the elder, "Reverend Sir, we desire to see the teacher." When the elder heard their request, he thought to himself, "I am weak, and on the way is a forest haunted by evil spirits. If I go with them, all will become weary and will be unable to obtain alms. I will send them on ahead." So he said to them, "Brethren, you go ahead, but you, Reverend Sir, I am weak, and on the way is a forest haunted by evil spirits. If I go with you, you will all become weary. Therefore you go on ahead." "Do not so, Reverend Sir. We will go only with you." "Brethren, please do not do so. If you do so, it will displease me." "When my younger brother sees you and asks after me, tell him that I have lost the sight of my eyes, and he will send someone to guide my steps. Greet in my name the possessor of the 10 powers and the 80 chief elders." So saying, he dismissed them. They begged the elder to pardon them for their insistence, and entered the village for alms. The village provided them with seats, presented them with alms, and asked them, "Reverend Sirs, may we know why the noble monks are leaving?" "Yes, lay disciples, we desire to see the teacher." The villagers repeatedly begged the monks to remain, but finding that they were firm in their determination to go, accompanied them on their way weeping, and then turned back. After journeying from place to place, the monks arrived at Jetavana and greeted the teacher and the 80 chief elders in the name of the elder. Having so done, they entered for alms the street where lived the elder's younger brother. The householder recognized them, received them cordially, provided them with seats, and asked them, "Where is my dear brother, the elder?" They told him what had happened. Flinging himself at their feet, he rolled on the ground and wept. Then he asked them, "Now, brethren, what is what is to be done?" The elder wishes to have someone come from here, that he may return with him. "Brethren, here is my sister's son Palita. Send him." "It will never do to send him, for there is danger by the way. We might, however, send him after first receiving him into the order." "Do so, and send him, brethren." So they received him into the order, and for a fortnight instructed him in such matters as the proper manner of putting on the robe. Then, showing him the way, they sent him forth. After journeying from place to place, he arrived at the village. Seeing an old man at the village gate, he asked him, "Is there a forest hermitage near this village?" "There is, reverend sir." "Who lives there?" "An elder named Palita, reverend sir." "Show me the way there." "Who are you, reverend sir?" "I am the son of the eldest sister." So the old man took him and led him to the hermitage. He paid obeisance to the elder, and for a fortnight performed the major and minor duties for him, ministering to him faithfully. Then he said to him, "Reverend sir, the householder, my mother's brother, desires to have you come to him. Let us go thither." "Very well, take hold of my staff." Taking hold of the staff by the tip, he entered the village with the elder. The villagers provided the elder with a seat and asked him, "Reverend sir, may we know your purpose in going?" "Yes, lay disciples, I am going to pay my respects to the teacher." The villagers sought by all means in their power to persuade them to remain, but failing in their efforts, escorted them part of the way and then turned back, weeping. When the novice had gone part of the way with the elder, holding the tip of the elder's staff, he arrived at a forest village named Kattanagara, near which the elder formerly resided. As the novice came out of the village, he heard in the forest the voice of a woman singing away as she gathered firewood. As he listened to her song, he fell in love with her voice. There is no sound to be compared with a woman's voice for power to thrill man's whole frame. Therefore, said the exalted one, "Monks, I know of no other single sound which so completely takes possession of the heart or from man as this, monks, namely a woman's voice." The novice, fascinated by her voice, let go his hold of the elder's staff. Said he, "Wait just a moment, reverend sir. I have some business." So saying, He went in the direction of the woman. When she saw him, she became silent. The novice violated the law of chastity with her. The elder thought to himself, just now I heard the sound of someone singing, and it was none other than a woman's voice. The novice tarries. He must have violated the law of chastity. When the novice had finished his business, he returned to the elder and said, "Come, reverend sir, let us be off." But the elder asked him, "Novice, have you committed sin?" The novice remained silent, and though questioned repeatedly, answered never a word. Then said the elder to him, "A sinner like you can never hold the tip of my staff." The novice, overwhelmed with remorse, removed his yellow robes, clothed himself in the garb of a householder, and said, "Reverend sir, before I was a novice, now I have become a layman again. It was not through faith that I became a monk, but because I feared the dangers of the journey. Come, let us be off." The elder replied, "An evildoer is an evildoer, be he layman or be he novice. While you were a novice, you were unable to keep the law of chastity. Will you be a better man for having become a layman? A sinner like you can never hold the tip of my staff. Reverend sir, the road is infested with evil spirits, and you are blind. How can you remain here?" The elder answered, "Brother, don't worry about that. No matter whether I lie down right here and die, or wander hither and thither, with you I will never go." So saying, he pronounced the following stanzas: "Alas, I have lost the sight of my eyes. A weary way have I come. I will lie down and go no farther. With a simpleton no fellowship may be. Alas, I have lost the sight of my eyes. A weary way have I come. I shall die. I will go no farther. With a simpleton no fellowship may be." When the novice heard this, he was overwhelmed with remorse, and he cried out, "A grievous sin indeed have I committed, a deed of violence and impropriety." And wringing his hands and weeping, he plunged into the forest and made off. By the power of the elder's virtue, the Yellowstone throne of Saka, king of gods, 60 leagues long, 50 leagues wide, 15 leagues thick, of the color of the Jayasumana flower, which has a way of lowering itself when Saka sits down, and of rising again when he stands up, manifested signs of heat. Who, pray, can be seeking to thrust me from my seat? Thought Saka, surveying the world with supernatural vision. He saw the elder. Therefore said those of old time, the King of gods, possessing 1,000 eyes, purified the divine eye. This sin-abhorring Pala purified his life. The King of the gods, possessing 1,000 eyes, purified the divine eye. This Pala, reverer of the Dhamma, said, delighting in religion. And this thought occurred to him: should I fail to go to the assistance of such a sin-abhorring, law-revering elder, my head is likely to split into 7 pieces. I will go to him. And so the King of the gods, possessed of 1,000 eyes, bearing majestic sway over the gods, in a single instant approached Lakkhupala. Accordingly, Saka approached the elder. When he was quite near him, he shuffled his feet. Who is there? Asked the elder. It is I, Reverend Sir, a traveler. Where are you going, lay disciple? To Savatthi, Reverend Sir. Continue your journey, brother. But, Reverend Sir, where is your reverence going? I am going there too. Well then, let us go together, Reverend Sir. I am weak, brother. If you go with me, you will be delayed. I have no urgent business. Besides, if I go with you, I can avail myself of one of the 10 ways and means of acquiring merit. Let us go together, Reverend Sir. The elder thought to himself, this is without doubt some pious man. So he said to him, very well, take hold of the tip of my staff, lay brother. Saka did so, and Saka shortened the distance so that they arrived at Jetavana in the evening. The elder, hearing the noise of trumpets, drums, and other instruments of music, asked, where is that noise? At Savatthi, Reverend Sir. Lay brother, when I came here before, we were a long time in coming. I know a shortcut, Reverend Sir. At that moment the elder perceived within himself, this is no human being. It must be a heavenly being. The King of gods, possessing 1,000 eyes, bearing majestic sway over the gods, shortening the distance, came quickly to Sabatthi. Sakka conducted the elder to a hut of leaves and grass, which his younger brother had made for his express use, seated him on a couch, and then, disguising himself as a dear friend of the younger brother, went to summon him. "Friend Pala," he called out. "What is it, friend? Do you know that the elder has arrived?" "No. Is it true that the elder has arrived?" "Yes, friend. I have just returned from the hermitage and saw the elder seated in the hut of leaves and grass you built for him." So saying, he departed. The householder went to the hermitage. When he saw the elder, he flung himself at his feet, rolled on the ground and wept. Then he said, "I knew this would happen, Reverend Sir. It was for this reason that I withheld from you my permission to become a monk." After talking with him for some time, he freed 2 slave boys, had the elder receive them into the order, and committed him to their care, saying, "Bring rice porridge and other kinds of food from the village and minister to the elder." The novices ministered to the elder, performing the major and minor duties faithfully. Now, one day a party of monks residing in foreign parts came to Jetavana to see the teacher. After paying their respects to the teacher and seeing the 80 chief elders, they made the rounds of the monastery. Coming to Lakkhupala's retreat, they said to each other, "Let us see him too." So when evening came, they set out to visit him. Just at that moment a severe storm arose. So they turned back, saying, "It is now evening, and a storm has arisen. Therefore, we will go and see him in the morning." The rain continued during the first watch, but ceased in the second. The elder, a man of great energy, accustomed to walking, came down the cloister in the last watch. Now at that time, many insects had come out of the newly wet earth, and as the elder walked up and down, they perished in great numbers. The resident monks did not sweep early where the elder walked. When the visiting monks arrived, saying, "We would see the place where the elder resides," and saw the insects in the cloister, they asked, "Who was it that walked in this cloister?" "Our master, Reverend Sirs." They were offended and said, "See what the monk has done. When he had the sight of his eyes, he lay down and slept and did nurse him. But now that he has lost his eyesight, saying to himself, 'I will take a walk,' he has destroyed these insects. 'That which is right I will do,' said he, 'but that which was not right he has done.' So they went and reported the matter to the Tathagata, saying, Reverend Sir, the elder Lakkhupala, saying to himself, I will take a walk, has destroyed many insects. But did you see him killing them? We did not, Reverend Sir. Precisely as you did not see him, so also did he not see these insects. Monks, they that are freed from the defilements have no thought of killing. Reverend Sir, seeing that he was destined to become an Arahat, how was it that he became blind? Monks, it was by reason of his misdeed in a former existence. Why, Reverend Sir, what did he do? Well then, monks, listen. Story of the past, the wicked physician and the woman. In times long past, when the king of Kasi reigned at Benares, a certain physician went through towns and villages, practicing his profession. Seeing a certain woman with weak eyes, he asked her, What is the matter with you? My eyesight has failed. I will prescribe for you. Do so, master. What will you give me? If you succeed in making my eyes well and strong again, I will become your slave, and my sons and daughters too. Very well, said he. So he prescribed a remedy for her, and with a single application of the remedy, her eyes became well and strong again. Upon this she thought, I promise to become his slave, and my sons and daughters too. But he will not treat me kindly, therefore I will deceive him. So when the physician came and asked her how she was getting on, she answered, Before my eyes pained me a little, but now they hurt me worse than ever. The physician thought, This woman is deceiving me, because she is unwilling to give me anything. I don't want her fee. Now I will make her blind. So he went home and told his wife about the matter. His wife said nothing. Then he compounded an ointment, went to the woman's house and directed her to rub it into her eyes. She did so, and her eyes went out like the flame of a lamp. That physician was Lakkhupala. End of story of the past. Monks, the evil deed that committed by my son followed him ever after. For an evil deed follows the evil doer, even as the wheel follows the hoof of the ox that bears the yoke. After relating this story, the king of righteousness joined the connection, even as the king seals an edict with the royal seal after the clay has been affixed. and pronounced the following stanza. Mind is the forerunner of all states. Mind is chief. Mind-made are they. If one speaks or acts with wicked mind, because of that suffering follows one, even as the wheel follows the hoof of the draught ox. Book 1, Story 2, Mattha Kundali. At Savarthi, we are told, lived a Brahman named Never Gave Adinna Pubbakha. He never gave anything to anybody, and that is why they called him Never Gave Adinna Pubbakha. He had an only son, was his darling and delight. Now he desired to have a set of ornaments made for him. But knowing that in case he gave the commission to a goldsmith, he should have to pay him a fee, he beat out the gold himself, made him a pair of burnished earrings and gave them to him. In this way his son received the name Burnished Earrings, Mattha Kundali. When his son was 16 years old, he had an attack of jaundice. The mother looked at the boy and said, "Brahman, your son is sick. Have him treated by a physician." "Wife, if I send for a physician, I shall have to pay him a fee in rice. You care nothing about the loss of my property." "Well, Brahman, what are you going to do about it?" "I shall manage things in such a way as to lose none of my wealth." So he went to various physicians and asked, "What are you in the habit of prescribing for such and such an ailment?" They mentioned to him bark of trees and this or that. So he procured these and prepared a remedy for his son. But in spite of all he did, his son's condition grew worse and worse, until finally he was past help. The Brahman, perceiving that his son was very weak, sent for a physician. The physician looked at the youth and said, "I have important business to attend to. Send for some other physician and have him treat him." Having thus refused to treat the boy, he turned and left the house. The Brahman realized that his son was at the point of death. Thought he, "All who come to see this youth will see the wealth in my house. Therefore I will place him outside." So he carried his son out of the house and laid him down on the veranda. On that day, Very early in the morning, the Exalted One arose from a meditative absorption of great compassion, and for the purpose of seeing those who had made their earnest wish under previous Buddhas, those the roots of whose merit were fully developed, brethren capable of conversion, he surveyed the universe with the eye of a Buddha, spreading the net of his knowledge over the 10 Chakravala worlds. Straightway Mattha Kundali, lying outside on the veranda, appeared within the net of his knowledge. As soon as the teacher saw him, he became aware that he had been removed from the house and laid there, and considering within himself, have I sufficient reason for going to him? He saw the following: this youth will repose faith in me, will die, and will be reborn as a deity in the heaven of the 33, in a golden mansion with a retinue of 1,000 celestial nymphs. The Brahman will burn his body and will go about the burning ground weeping. The deity will survey his own person 3/4 of a league in height, adorned with 60 cartloads of ornaments, surrounded by 1,000 celestial nymphs, and considering within himself, through what merit have I attained this attainment of splendor? He will perceive that he obtained it by reposing faith in me. Then he will say to himself, my father, who failed to provide medicine for me for fear of wasting his wealth, has now gone to the burning ground and is weeping. I will effect a change in his attitude, and provoked at his father, he will take the form of Mattha Kundali, will go to a place not far from the burning ground, and will fling himself on the ground and weep. The Brahman will ask him, who are you? He will reply, I am your son Mattha Kundali. Where were you reborn? In the world of the 33. The Brahman will ask him, what deed of merit did you perform? And Mattha Kundali will tell him that he was reborn in the world of the 33 by reposing faith in me. Then the Brahman will ask me, are there any that have been reborn in heaven by reposing faith in you? And I will reply to him, it is not so many hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands. There is no counting the number of them. I will then recite a stanza. At the conclusion of the stanza, 84,000 living beings will obtain comprehension of the Dhamma. Mattha Kundali will receive the fruit of conversion, and so will Adinna Pubbaka, the Brahman. Thus, through this noble youth, many will obtain comprehension of the Dhamma. Of all this the teacher became aware. Accordingly, on the following day, having dressed, he surrounded himself with a large company of monks, entered Savatthi for alms, and in due course arrived at the house of the Brahman. At that moment, Mattha Kundali was lying with face turned towards the house. The teacher, observing that he did not see him, sent forth the ray of light. "What is that radiance?" asked the youth, turning over. Seeing the teacher from where he lay, he said, "On account of a foolish father, I have been deprived of the privilege of approaching so excellent a Buddha, nor have I obtained the privilege either of waiting upon him, or of giving him alms, or of hearing the Dhamma. Now I cannot even control the movements of my hands. There is nothing else I can do." So saying, he reposed faith in the Buddha. The teacher said, "He has done enough," and departed. As the Tathagata receded from his range of vision, he died with a believing heart, and as if awakening from sleep was reborn in the world of the gods, in a golden mansion of 30 leagues in extent. The Brahman burned the body of his son, and resorting to the burning ground, abandoned himself entirely to lamentation. Every day he would go to the burning ground and weep and say, "Where are you, my only son?" The deity, his former son, surveyed his own glory and considered within himself, "By what deed of merit have I obtained this?" Perceiving that it was by reposing faith in the teacher, he said to himself, "This Brahman failed to provide medicine for me when I was sick, but now goes to the burning ground and weeps. I must effect a change in his attitude." Accordingly, he took the form of Mattha Kundali, went to a place not far from the burning ground, and stood wringing his hands and weeping. The Brahman saw him and thought to himself, "As for myself, I am weeping because of sorrow for my son. Why is yonder youth weeping? I will ask him." So he asked him in the following stanza: "Richly adorned, wearing earrings of burnished gold, bearing garlands with protuberances of yellow sandal, you wring your hands and weep. Why are you afflicted in the midst of the forest? Said the youth, I have obtained a chariot body, shining of solid gold, but I cannot find a pair of wheels for it. Through grief over this, I shall lose my life. Then said the Brahman to him, name wheels of gold, of precious stones, of copper or of silver. Name them to me, good youth, and I will procure you a pair of wheels. Hearing this, the youth thought to himself, this Brahman failed to provide medicine for his son. But seeing that I look like his son, he says, I will procure wheels for your chariot, either of gold, or of precious stones, or of copper, or of silver. Very well, I will humble him. So he said, how large a pair of wheels will you make for my chariot? As large as you wish. I want the moon and the sun. Said the youth, give them to me by way of request. Said the youth to the Brahman, the moon and the sun are brothers twain. My chariot is of solid gold. With such a pair of wheels it would shine. The Brahman replied, youth, you are a simpleton to seek for what cannot be obtained. I suppose you will die, for you will never obtain the moon and the sun. But the youth said to him, but which is the greatest simpleton? He who weeps for what exists, or he who weeps for what does not exist? They are seen that go and come, the property of colors seen on both sides of the street. But he that is dead and gone cannot be seen. Which of us that weep here is the greater simpleton? Hearing this, the Brahman came to the conclusion, what this youth says is sensible, and he said to them, youth, what you say is quite true, but it is I that am the greatest simpleton of the two that weep. Like a child crying for the moon, I desired a son that is dead and gone. Having thus spoken, freed from sorrow by the words of the youth, the Brahman pronounced the following stanzas in praise of the youth. When I was all on fire, and the fire was as if fed with ghee, you poured water on the fire, as it were, and extinguished all my grief. You drew out the arrow that was in me, the sorrow that was in my heart. Although I was dead with sorrow, you removed my sorrow for my son. The arrow of my grief has been withdrawn, and I am tranquil and happy. Having heard your words, youth, I sorrow no more, nor do I weep. Then the Brahman asked him, who are you? Are you a Devata, or a Gandhava, or are you Saka, Purindada? Who are you? Whose son are you? How am I to know you? The youth replied, I am he for whom you lament, he for whom you weep, your son, whom you yourself burned in the burning ground. By the performance of a work of merit, I have attained the society of the 30. In these words, the youth gave him the information he asked for. Then said the Brahman, I never saw you give alms, either little or much, in your own home, nor did you so much as keep precept day. By what work of merit did you attain the world of the gods? The youth replied, as I lay in my own home, sick, afflicted, oppressed with a grievous ailment, my body weakened by disease, I beheld the Buddha, free from passion, free from doubt, happy, of lofty wisdom. With joyful mind and believing heart I did homage to the Tathagata, with hands reverently clasped. By the performance of this work of merit, I attained the society of the 30. As the youth spoke, the whole body of the Brahman was suffused with joy. This joy he made known in the following stanza. Wonderful, marvelous, that such as this should be the fruit of a reverent salutation. I too, with joyful mind and believing heart, seek refuge in the Buddha this very day. Then said the youth, this very day, with believing heart, seek refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha. Likewise, take upon yourself the 5 precepts and keep them unbroken and unimpaired. Refrain from talking from this moment. Take not that which is not given to you in this world. Drink not strong drink. Speak not falsely. Be content with your own wife. Very well, said the Brahman, agreeing, and he pronounced the following stanzas. You desire my weal, Yakha. You desire my welfare, divinity. I will obey your words. You are my teacher. I seek refuge in the Buddha, and likewise in his incomparable Dhamma, and in the Sangha of the Prince of Men do I seek refuge. From the taking of life do I refrain from this moment. I abstain from taking that which is not given to me in this world. I drink not strong drink. I speak not falsely. I am content with my own wife. Then said the deity to him, Brahman, you have much wealth in your house. Approach the teacher, give him alms, listen to the Dhamma and ask him questions. So saying, he disappeared. The Brahman went home and said to his wife, Wife, I shall invite the monk Gautama to my house and ask him questions. Therefore prepare hospitality. Then he went to the monastery, and without saluting the teacher or expressing any pleasure at seeing him, stood on one side and said, Sir Gautama, consent for today to take a meal in my house with your company of monks. The teacher consented. As soon as the Brahman received his consent, he returned home quickly and caused food, both hard and soft, to be prepared in his house. The teacher, accompanied by the congregation of monks, went to his house and sat down on the seat prepared for him. The Brahman waited upon him respectfully. A multitude of people assembled. We are told that when a man who holds false views invites the Tathagata, two classes of people assemble. Those who hold false views assemble with a thought in their minds. Today we shall see the monk Gautama embarrassed by the questions that are asked. Those who hold orthodox views assemble with the thought, today we shall see the power of a Buddha and the grace of a Buddha. Now when the Tathagata had finished his meal, the Brahman approached him, seated himself on a low seat, and asked him the following question. Sir Gautama, are there any that have been reborn in heaven without giving alms to you, without rendering honor to you, without hearing the Dhamma, without keeping precept day, solely by making an act of faith? Brahman, why do you ask me? Did not your own son Mattha Kundali tell you that he had been reborn in heaven by reposing faith in me? When, Sir Gautama, did you not go to the burning ground today, and while you were weeping, see a youth near you wringing his hands and weeping? And did you not say to him, richly adorned, wearing earrings of burnished gold, bearing garlands, with protuberances of yellow sandal? Continuing, the teacher related in detail the conversation of the two and told the whole story of Mattha Kundali. For this very reason the teacher pronounced this word of the Buddha, Brahman, it is not a question of 100 or 200. There is no counting the number of those who have been reborn in heaven by reposing faith in me. The multitude were not free from doubt. The teacher, perceiving that they were not free from doubt, commanded, let the deity Mattha Kundali come hither in his mansion. Thereupon Mattha Kundali drew near, 3/4 of a league in height, his person adorned with celestial ornaments. Descending from his mansion, he paid obeisance to the teacher and stood respectfully on one side. The teacher asked him, "What work of merit did you perform to attain this glory?" "Divinity, you possess surpassing beauty, illuminating all 4/4 like the herb star. I ask you, God of mighty power, what meritorious act did you perform in your human estate?" When the teacher had completed this stanza, the deity replied, "Reverend sir, I obtained this glory by reposing faith in you. You obtained it by reposing faith in me." "Yes, Reverend sir." The populace surveyed the god and exclaimed, "Marvelous indeed are the powers of the Buddhas. The son of the Brahman Adinapubhakar obtained glory such as this simply by reposing faith in the teacher without doing a single other work of merit." And they were filled with joy when the teacher said to them, "Our thoughts are the source of all our actions, both good and bad, and by our thoughts are our actions controlled. For like a shadow, an act done with thought of faith never leaves a man who goes to the world of the gods or the world of men." Having related this story, the King of Truth joined the connection and sealing, as it were, with the royal seal an edict to which the clay had been attached, pronounced the following stanza: "Mind is the forerunner of all states. Mind is chief. Mind made are they. If one speaks or acts with pure mind, because of that happiness follows one, even as one's shadow that never leaves